In this current climate for me, it's, what's happening to immigrants. That frightens me. It keeps me up at night, knowing that there's so much bias and so much racism and so much ignorance. I worry for people of color all over this country.
That was former First Lady Michelle Obama speaking out on the Shetty Podcast this week after he asked about her fear of people getting in trouble based on the color of their skin. And as you heard, the current deportations in America are keeping her up at night. Yes, so she also said that was something keeping her up at night. I feel obligated to bring up the fact that Barack Obama also deported a lot of people, as did every other president, and I think there's a little bit of hypocrisy here on immigration when, you're right, there are plenty of deportations under Democratic administrations. This is like when the kids in cages thing became a thing and they're showing you the pictures, and actually the pictures are from the Obama years, because that is one of the roles of the federal government, is to deport people who are here in this country illegally. I don't agree with every single enforcement action the Trump administration is taken, but we did not just, contrary to what you might think, we did not you, but the viewer, some theoretical person, we did not just magically start doing deportations for the first time when Trump came into office. This is something that has continued under every administration.
I think there's one key distinction here, and I didn't see the whole interview, so I don't know if this came up. The distinction is that the deportations that occurred under Barack Obama were, first of all, they were prioritized in a very specific way that set convicted, that's the key word here, convicted individuals who were described as a threat to national security, a threat to border security, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, the focus was on those who had done violent things, and again, they went through due process. What we're seeing here under this administration, and perhaps this is what the former First Lady, my forever First Lady, Michelle Obama, was referring to, is that we're seeing no due process. You're seeing people rounded up. In fact, at the Michigan rally, they played not once, but twice that social media video that the administration had put together, with the people with all the guns and the lines of the individuals that are sent to the El Salvador prison. And you're seeing this kind of fanfare, and in fact, it's for individuals who we don't know one way or another. We don't know definitively whether or not they are actually guilty of the things that this administration says they are. It's part of the reason why you're seeing the pushback from the courts.
Well, it depends which case we're talking about. If we're talking about Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the case that has most captured the media's attention, Maryland father, I have very little doubt that this person is a member of MS-13, as the government has suggested and did prove in his initial court case. It's not true that he didn't get due process. He got a process. The government has admitted they should not have deported him to El Salvador. They could have deported him to literally any other country. There was an order not to send him specifically to El Salvador. Fine, they made a mistake on that. They should try to get him back. But he is an El Salvadoran native. He is back in El Salvador. He is affiliated with a terrorist-designated gang. I just saw some additional reporting by the New York Post. If you needed additional proof that he was in fact connected to MS-13, there was a court action with his I believe it was his wife's father, telling the police, in fact, that he shouldn't be able to see her because he was a member of MS-13 from a while ago. So I think some in the media are looking at this with rose-tinted glasses, some of these cases. That doesn't mean that people should be sent to some prison without due process. I am all for due process, and I criticize it when it's not taking place. But this case that has really gotten a lot of attention, is really in the spotlight, I think the media may have overreached here.
Well, and it's gotten a lot of attention in part because
they're going to visit him. Senators are going to. Why are they going to visit? But does anyone seriously doubt that he is in fact a member or was a member of this gang?
Well, I don't know. I haven't seen all of the things that you're describing here, Robby, but I have seen this sitting president use an image of tattoos on his knuckles again and again, which were clearly, very, very clearly photoshopped. I mean, literally, one could have done that at home. He doesn't have tattoos on his knuckles. That's correct. That is not a piece of evidence. And so the reason I bring it up, though, Robby, is that it's very difficult to take this administration at its word. And I think it is still to be shown whether or not all of those individuals that were rounded up are actually guilty of the things that they said, and on top of that, whether there was any due process around them. I think the issue that the former First Lady is raising is that this is clearly intended to cause fear within a certain community, and she's sympathetic to it.
Yeah, I mean, but there's no, these people are in the country illegally, and there is a, you might think that's fine for people to remain in the country illegally. There is, if you read public opinion polling on this, right, there is a strong desire among the people. They elected Donald Trump. He won the popular vote, making no secret of what he was going to do in terms of deporting illegal immigrant people. Now, I want to deport people with a process. I don't want to send everyone to some horrific prison in El Salvador. So there are certainly excesses of this that I can criticize, but the MAGA view, the Trump administration view, and the view of a majority of the country is that if you're here illegally, you get picked up, you're going to be sent elsewhere. Like that's the deal. We don't want you to remain here.
Well,
that's the view of the voters.
I definitely don't dispute the fact that he ran on this issue, and it was a significant reason why he was elected. Obviously, there's greater intensity depending on which portion of the electorate that supported him on this issue versus others. I would argue that really it was the economy and people's continued feeling of pain, and also this long-standing sense that the system itself is just not working for ordinary folks. And you've heard people on the left and on the right argue that. Where we are now, though, I think is also important. And where we are is that this administration is still talking about immigration, still trying to make that the top issue of every single day. And the polling shows us that actually they're like, dude, what about the price of my eggs? You know, what are you doing to help make my life better on a regular, everyday basis? And, you know, we keep coming back to this because I think it's true. Cycle after cycle, we always talk about kitchen table issues and not the border, actually, because that's the thing that governs people's everyday lives.
Well, those issues matter too, but
you should be able to do all
immigration
things,
matters
however.
significantly to people, and ignoring the will of the voters on immigration issues has long plagued the Republican Party establishment wanting to do amnesty-type schemes that are just not popular with their own voters, and they've had to back away from it. Well, right. I mean, it can be a policy that I think is good or bad. It doesn't necessarily make it popular or not. On some level, they got to listen to their voters, and I think this is one of those cases where even if you or I don't think it's a good idea to do mass deportations, the people want that. They've elected Republicans to do it. Trump has vowed to do it, so I don't see how they could not, at least some level, do it. Now, Trump's mere presence as the president has actually had an effect on the border and has resulted in fewer crossings, which is a massive win and speaks to what Trump said initially, is that actually we don't need a new law, we don't need a new anything, we just need me. He was right about that one. On this issue specifically, that has proved the border, has improved the border situation, which is to his credit.
You know, we can't come off of this issue, though, without talking about just kind of the basic humanity elements that you're also seeing, you know, play out in the media, including, you know, sending little kids with their moms, or in some cases separating them.
Well, but I mean, that shows the problem, right? It's damned if you do, damned if you don't. I know, but I hated those media headlines that were like, 2-year-old being deported. The 2-year-old is not being deported. The mother is being deported. The mother wanted to, it's her baby, wants to take him with her. I don't think you think either.
No,
it's
it's
heart-wrenching. Intervene and prevent and
is
capture the kid. That would not be good.
Did you see the story recently that broke about this 2-year-old little girl who has neither her mother nor her father here? I mean, it's to your point. No matter what, it's a bad situation.
It's that is really difficult. That does it for us. That does it for us today on Rising. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss any of our content. And for those of you who like to listen while on the go, we're now available anywhere you listen to podcasts. See you back here tomorrow.